welcome back to Black Coffee and Grits. I'm Lisa. We are here for our January stitching recap. And I did some sewing this month too. So I have a ton to show you. And I'm very distracted because it's a beautiful day outside. It's been a crazy January. We've had snow. We got snow in Texas. I'm going to put in a picture for proof because it really did happen. We didn't get that much here in like where I live in Fort Worth, but my dad got a ton out in Weatherford, so that was really cool. And it was pretty while it was coming down, so I enjoyed doing snow day stitching. And we went on a trip to Red River, New Mexico. So we road tripped up to Red River. We stayed the night in Amarillo. We took the dogs with us. It was beautiful. It was snowing. Was it the first day we got there? I think it was the first day we got there. It snowed. It didn't snow the rest of the time, but there was a good base. The boys skied. They had a good time. I stayed in and stitched. We really had fun. We ate at Texas Reds. This place, I'm going to pop in a picture of like the bag. This place was amazing. It was so good. I'm telling you, it was the best green hatch green chili I've ever had. Like I ate it 2 days in a row and I'm still thinking about that. It was so delicious. I need to find a recipe for it. But it'll be something to look forward to going back up there again in the future. So prayers please for my Aunt Vicky. It was supposed to be a trip with my mom and my aunt and cousins and Will, and then Tyler and I. But my aunt, she was not feeling well before we were going on the trip, so she went to the doctor, and thankfully she did because she was anemic and she had to end up having surgery. Long story short, just please pray for Aunt Vicky. I was sad she didn't get to go on the trip with us. And I'm just praying for a speedy recovery for her. And so my father-in-law ended up going with us. So Papa got to ski a little bit and we just enjoyed time together. It was really fun. The dogs, they had fun. It was a little bit cold for them, but like I said, we stitched in the car. I listened to audiobooks. What else? What else happened this month? Mostly just a lot of stitching. We finally got back to school and it's going really well. Will's doing a really great job. He's had such a good attitude. I'm so pleased to say because sometimes January is tough. Lots of stitching days. It is actually, I'm recording this on the last day of January. It's January 31st. I got a lot accomplished this month and I'm excited to show you. I ended up having 4 starts, just one finish, which I'll show you in just a minute. And then I did a couple of FFOs. Remember, it was my goal to get 2 FFOs done, and I did do that. I also spent some time last weekend at the Best Little Retreat Center in Texas with Michelle. We had another quilting weekend, and so I got some quilting done and some sewing projects. It was really a good time. I've always felt like it's so productive. I'm wiped out after, but it's so fun and it's so worth it. And then what else? I got some time in on some of those BAPs. So I'm very proud. I did stick mostly to my plan, although I am supposed to be stitching on Teresa Kogut today because it's the 31st. And I haven't put any stitches on that yet, but the day is not done. So, we also went to the rodeo this week and that was super fun. The Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo is going on right now, and we took the grandparents, my dad, my mom, Papa Arbo, all went to, and Will, of course, and Tyler, and I went to the rodeo. So that was really fun. Always enjoy that when we go to it. So let's jump right into stitching. I'm trying to be super organized. I printed off my Flosstube planner from the Naptime Stitcher, and I've really enjoyed my planner. Thank you so much, Katie. I've really enjoyed that. It's really been wonderful. I like the charts that she has in it. It's been really fun to check off the days that I'm stitching what, and just seeing how many days it really takes me to finish a project. So I also started planning a kit parade, which I'm going to do soon with spring projects. Let me put that note to the side because that will be for another day. And I did make notes of all the stitching, so I have all the details and that feels great. Okay, so let me show you the finish I did. So this was Winter Typography from Pine Mountain Designs, and I stitched this on 32 count London Fog Opal Lugana from Live and Die LA. And I did really enjoy stitching on this because it has that really fun opal, you know, shiny, shimmery thread going through the fabric, but I will say it was hard to see. So I had to end up using my magnifier on this, and that was totally okay. But it was just something that was a little bit more tedious, and I had to work on it, you know, pretty much when I was at home or in front of a magnifier. So for the floss for this, I ended up picking from Stash, and I used Color and Cotton, Mermaid's Folly, Battleship, Pistachio, and Smoky Mountains. And then I used Weeks Dyeworks, I can say this, Grits, and Classic Colorworks Hickory Sticks. And I really love how it turned out. I think it's so cute. I am going to frame it. I was going to try to frame it today, but I was like, Lisa, if you don't get going, you're never going to get this video recorded. So soon. It's still winter, right? I can still enjoy it for a couple more months, a month more. We'll get it done. So also I did some FFOs while Michelle and I were at this little retreat center in Texas. Is it Texas or is it Dallas? Now I'm questioning myself. Either way, it's in Dallas. It's in Dallas, Texas. We had such a fun time, and we encouraged each other to do some FFOing. So I FFO'd LOVE. This is a hands-on design freebie, which I stitched last year, and I really enjoyed stitching it because it was quick and cute. And I stitched it on a piece of 28 count Night Sky Lugana from Fiber on a Whim. And then I chose my own colors for this, so I did Color and Cotton Raven and Cozy Sweater, and then Classic Colorworks Clay Pot is the pink. Love it. Turned out so cute. Of course, it needed a heart on the back. Michelle and I did a lot of fabric shopping, and now I can't remember what the fabric line was for this cute little arrow fabric, but I think it's Lella Boutique, I believe. So many cute fabrics in there, and I did pick up some fabric while I was there working because, you know, why wouldn't you? The other thing I finished FFO'd is St. Paddy's by Emily Call, and I also stitched this last year. I stitched this on 32 count Bramble linen by Picture This Plus, and I used the call for DMCs, except I subbed 3815 for 3817, which is that seafoam green. I believe that was just because that's what I had in stash. So I did something different this time. Michelle had some, oh goodness, what are those things called? Now I'm going to forget. Poly pellets. So I put that in the bottom in addition to some of the fiber fill. I am enjoying the weight. I wish I had put just a tad more. So it's always an experiment when you try something new. On the back, oh, I can't remember what this is called. It's one of those sort of semi-solid fabrics. It's got a little bit of like two-tone color in it. And then I did just a little felt heart again because, you know, it had hearts on it too. So it turned out super cute. Enjoying those. They're going in the dough bowl. I didn't quite get my hugs and kisses finished, but I am going to do that. I have everything for it. I was just wanting to do some trim on it, and it sort of slowed me down when I got to the sewing machine because I didn't have, I needed some, like, what do you call it? I had fusible fleece with me, but I needed some stabilizer or something like that, but not quite that thick. So anyway, I didn't have the supplies I needed. And I haven't honestly gotten my sewing machine back out since last weekend, but I hope to do that this week or this weekend. I really want to clean out my craft room. It needs to happen. That space is a mess. Okay, so I had a super productive month. As I said, it was my goal to put in at least 2 days on some of my bats. And I think I did that on all of them that I set out to do. So let me show you Pandemic first. I definitely got, that's the other reason why I like this chart, because you can flip back over to this chart and see how many days you got in on everything. So I really like that. So I ended up stitching, yeah, just 2 days on Pandemic. I stitched on the 1st and the 29th. So I'm considering this my leap year project. I would like to finish this in 4 years. I know this is a lofty goal. Trying to decide if I just want to pop in pictures of charts. I think I do. This is Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers. Sometimes I feel like when I'm holding up the charts, you can't see them as well. So a still picture seems to be easier to read and see. So I'm stitching Pandemic on this piece of Mystery Overdye Aida. It's a 20 count Aida. And I'm stitching it 1/1. And I'm using DMC number 29, which is this really pretty eggplant. Bubba Bear! My son's playing video game. Okay, he lives here too, right? Okay, this is DMC number 29. Really loving how this is coming out. So I'm nearing a page finish. I stitched on this, was that the 29th yesterday? It was the day before yesterday. And I got all the way down to this squirrel, which had to be put in for my friend Michelle. She just loves a good squirrel. So I've carried the border all the way down. I'm actually past I've actually started on page 2 over here in the border, but let's see, there's still quite a few motifs left to put in. I part of me wanted to keep going on it, but another whip was calling my name. So good progress though. I'm proud of that. I might pop in a picture. Yeah, I'll pop in a picture of where I was before and how far I got, because I feel like it's great to see that comparison. And I'm kind of curious. I want to do an experiment. Michelle is working on a Quaker that she's just putting 2 strands a day in on. And I'm curious about how much progress you can make versus just stitching on it for 2 days. You know, if you get more progress. So I may experiment with that. Okay. You're curious about needle minders or project bags. Mad for minders. I'm pretty sure I got this one. It says 1 stitch at a time. And this is a Stitchy Sassenach bag it has Alice in Wonderland on it. I really love it. If you're ever curious about something and I don't say it, just ask me. I'm happy to look it up or send it to you. Okay, the next project I started, and it was a planned start in January, is from Stitching with the Housewives. This is, and I'll pop in a picture of the pattern. It's the January weigh-in. So I'm stitching this on 28 count limited edition color and cotton Lugana. And I did switch this. I had a really pretty kind of foggy blue picked out, which I loved, but I realized it was 32 count, and the other pieces for that scale that from Paisleys and polka dots that these all go on, if I finished it on 32 count, it was gonna, or if I stitched it on 32 count, it was gonna end up being too small compared to the other pieces. So I just decided to switch to this, and I really like it. I was making really good progress, and this is when I was stitching on the snow day, which was so perfect to stitch a snowman when there's snow on the ground. But I wasn't using grits. I'm using the called for flosses, and I believe this was bamboo, the white. and I ran out, so I had to order some more. So I did order some, and I can't remember if it made it into the project bag or not, but I'll get back to that, and I can stitch on it again in February because it's still winter. Okay, the other project that I've had a very hard time putting down, and I have enjoyed so much, and I stitched on this one in the car in a little bit in Red River, is Winter Cometh by Summer House Stitchworks. And I was gifted this pattern and these beautiful Belle Soie silks from Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. Sarah is on YouTube. Her Flosstube channel is called Sarah Stitchery, and she's on Instagram at Stitchy Sarah Reads, and she's super fun and always stitching beautiful things. And I enjoyed watching her whip parade, and she inspired me to start something new. Well, I didn't start it yet, but I'm going to. Have you guys been watching the heck out of whip parades and finish parades? It's so much fun. So look at these beautiful Belle Soies. So I believe Sarah picked these colors out. They're from, Belle Soies are from Classic Colorworks. They're the silks. This is Indigo. Babbling Brook is the gray, and then the green is Attic Tea. Oh, they're so pretty. I just love them so much. So I am stitching on 18 count. I know, don't fall out of your chair. 1 over 1. This is a piece of Freeze Aida 18 count by Atomic Ranch. And I picked this up while I was at Stitch Away and thinking I might stitch something else on it, but this worked out perfectly for it. And I was a little nervous about using the Belle Soies on the Aida, but it's been totally fine. I love it. Stitching with silks, it's so good. I still have a needle in this. I'm literally mid-stitch. Let me pull this back through. Although I can't see over here. I should be able to see, but I have the ring light set up and it's a little bit bright. So still in my nerd tube. Got my Mad for Reminders needle minder. That's one of the fun Queen of Hearts needle minders. She says, "Off with their heads." I just love that movie so much. The movie, the book, all of it. So this has been just a dream to stitch on, and I'm making really good progress. In fact, I thought I worked on it all day yesterday and finished this gray section, and I thought, oh, I picked it up this morning, had to finish the words at least. Again, I'm supposed to be stitching on Teresa Kogut, but there's still time left in the day. So I want to stitch this whole series, and I'm tempted to stitch them all with the Belle Soies because I'm enjoying it so much. Did I say everything I need to say? I believe I did. Okay, so I ought to be putting these away as I go, but I don't know. I've kind of been a mess the last few days, and I don't even know where the project bag is for it. I want to do some shuffling around with project bags. Do you guys ever do that? Sometimes I think it's a bad thing to do because you get in your head what the project bag looks like, but sometimes I just want to like put them in bags that look like they go with the project, because sometimes I just use what I have, you know. Okay, rambling on. The other thing I started this month, and this was like a total squirrel moment because this was not in the plans whatsoever, but I was inspired by Instagram, and I'm going to pop in a picture of this Instagram post because sometimes I'm just scrolling the Instagram and I'm like, ooh, and I saw this and I was like, I want to stitch another black sampler. I had so much fun stitching Matter's Choice. I thought, what if I took a black sampler wall? And so that led to hopping on 1-2-3 Stitch and looking at every single like black sampler. And I realized I could have picked any sampler and just changed the colors to black. But I started looking at samplers that were already, you know, designed in black. There's plenty of time for exploring other options, but This is a really cute bag. I have this put in Stitching with the Westies bag. It's got chickens. Oh, it's so cute. It's rather springy, but I gotta say, we're having some, I just told you it snowed like 2 weeks ago, and it got really, really, really cold for like a whole week. And when I say really cold, I'm talking about highs in the 20s. No, not highs in the 20s. We were down in the 20s, but highs probably in the 30s. It didn't get out of the 40s for like a whole week, and that's really cold for us. But today it's like 67. And yesterday it was in the 60s. And I read that next week we may get into the 70s, like the high 70s. So I think a fishing day might be in order next week. Okay, so as I said, I keep popping in pictures of the patterns just because I think they're easier to see. This is Blackbird Sampler by Pansy Patch Quilt and Stitchery. And this is my first Pansy Patch Quilt and Stitchery pattern, and I'm enjoying it. I almost cannot put this down. I love it so much. So this is a piece of mystery linen that I got from the Silver Needle. It just wasn't labeled. I have the feeling, no, I shouldn't guess. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's a mystery. But it is a 28 count. And I gotta say, sometimes I just love stitching on a 28 count because it's so easy. Like after stitching on, I really am not having a problem stitching on that 36 count because I think it's with silks or seeing it even, although I do use my readers more than, now that I think about it, I do use my readers quite a bit stitching that. But after having to use the magnifier on that other project, it's just so nice to be able to pick up something and not need any magnification or glasses. This looks a whole lot like what's pictured on the call for, which is ale. Although my ale is darker than that. I know it varies from, I guess, count to count and whether or not it's Lugana or Aida or linen or whatever, but this is a really beautiful linen. I wish I knew what it was. Really enjoying stitching this. Like, it is so much fun. So I'm using black coffee. I don't think I said that for my black. The call for was a silk, but I thought black coffee seemed fitting. My favorite black. So that's from Classic Colorworks, and I'm just having fun with it. I really didn't want to put it down. We had a scare this week. I didn't mention that when I was talking about what's been going on. Prayers for Will too, because he's having some heart palpitations. And at first we kind of blew it off, but it happened too many times. And so I finally took him to urgent care this week. She did a chest x-ray and it was good. Like, it showed like a normal heart size, and they did a EKG and it was good. So we are going to follow up with our just regular doctor and do some blood work and whatnot. And she said it could just be an electrolyte issue, or like, you know, having too much or too little of a vitamin or mineral. So I'm prayerful that it's something simple like that, but he scared me. And when we went to the urgent care, we are very blessed to have Cook's Children's Hospital right here in our backyard. I realize that is a blessing. Like, not everyone has a dedicated pediatric hospital like that, and that is so cool. I decided, instead of taking him to the ER, to try the urgent care first, and they did have an EKG machine there, so that was great, but the wait was 2.5 hours. William and I walked in there, and there were so many sick kids. It was just the saddest thing. We looked around. I'm sure there's a lot of flu, and, you know, it's flu and cold season and whatnot. So we both grabbed masks. We washed our hands. We did hand sanitizer. They said we could wait in the car. So we went and sat in the car. So he YouTubed or whatever, played games on his iPad, and I stitched on this. And I was so glad I had this because, again, it's an easy something I can do in the car. I really enjoyed it. That's a Mad for Minders needle minder. It's too peeply outside, and it was definitely too peeply outside that day. Too charming too. Thank God we didn't get sick. And this is one of my favorite hoops. This is a Hardwick hoop. Really love that. I think I said all the things. I feel a tiny bit out of practice. It's funny how a month goes by and you're like, I have to relearn how to do all this stuff. Okay, something got put back in her project bag. That felt nice. The next thing I stitched on, actually I'm not really showing these in order. I put them all on a piece of paper because I wanted to put all the fabric details and whatnot. And so showing these a bit out of order from the way I stitched them, but that doesn't matter. This is The Farms at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings, popping in a picture so you can see that pattern. I am stitching it the long direction, the longer, skinnier direction, the 6x2 direction. Am I making sense yet? I think I am. So my goal was to get 2 days in on this. I think I ended up stitching on it for 3 days because I couldn't put it down. Yes, so I didn't end up stitching it on the 22nd because I already put days in on it. When I started on the 5th, I couldn't put it down for 2 days. So I mainly focused on this one block, which is the Monday barn raising. And I got pretty far on it. Look at that cute little Dr. Pepper needle minder from Mad for Minders. And this is my number 3 nerd tube, and I also really love this one. The number 2 might be my favorite, but this one is a good size for this hawk run. You want to know what I'm stitching this on? I am stitching this on 32 count latte linen by Fiber on a Whim. I love this fabric. Love their linens, and I'm using the called for DMCs for this. So it's a labor of love. I'll be stitching on it for a while, but I do, like I said, I might experiment with one of these BAPs and do 1 or 2 strands a day versus 2 days of stitching to see what kind of progress I can make on it. I love that project though. I think it's going to be so fun when it's all done. Okay, the other thing I pulled out, and even though it's not Christmas anymore, because it was snowy, I felt in the mood to stitch on Believe by Erin Elizabeth, and I made some decent progress on this too. I'm stitching this on, oops, sorry, I need my second page. This is stitched on 32 count Haunted by Picture This Plus. Picked up a piece of floss. Some black coffee just floating around. Probably came off of my sampler, huh? You guys are probably like, Lisa, that's been hanging off you for an hour. Okay, I can get back to my train of thought. 32 count Haunted by Picture This Plus, and I'm using Grits by Weekstar Works is my white. And I really love this. It's so fun. I love all the negative space. It's super simple. You know, it's just one color. So I stitched on this up in Red River one day. Like I said, felt like stitching on it because I was in the snow. That one might get put away for a while. Not sure. The other BAP I worked on, 2 more BAPs I worked on. I'm so proud of myself. The other one that I put in some time on is Teresa Kogut. Whoops, I didn't pin this. My bad. My needle minder's up there and it was heavy, so I pulled it back down. So sorry. This is Halloween Sampler from the Hello Halloween, and I'll pop in a picture of the book. Hello Halloween book by Teresa Kogut, and I put in 2 days. No, I didn't put in 2 days. I put in 1 good day on this. I got this tree in down here, and let's see if I can avoid my chandelier, but get you closer to this. So worked on the tree and those little owls, and like I said, I'm supposed to be stitching on this again today, and I probably will. Whoops, hit the chandelier, even though I was trying so hard not to. This is stitched on 20 count Properly Primitive Aida by Under the Sea Fabrics 1/1 for this project as well, with all the call for flosses. So really enjoying the stitch and stitching on it on the 13th and the 31st of each month, just to get some progress in on this so that maybe I can get it finished before Halloween, or at least maybe finish it up during the Halloween season. I've been stitching on this for quite a little while, so I knew it was a big project, so again, got to get some time in on those backs, or otherwise they're just not going to get done. And I get antsy after a little while. I need something else to stitch. So this was my challenge piece. This is my challenge piece. This is American Flag Quilt Sampler by Rosewood Manor. Yes, the hashtag for this is Lisa Made Us Do It. If you know, you know. I got this back out because I feel guilty that I haven't been working on it. Okay, so this is stitched, sorry, there's just a needle just hanging out. I was mid-stitch on this as well. I can't take that off. Let's see. This is stitched on 18 count Aida, One More Reproduction by, I believe it's by Bee Stitch Me. And it's a beautiful fabric, and I'm using the called for DMCs, and I'm stitching 1/1. If I don't say I'm stitching 2/2, that's my favorite way to stitch. But it seems like I stitched on a lot of 1/1 Aida projects this month, now that I'm going back through all these whips. So I got some more border put in, and I started in on this next quilt block here, and I will be honest, I had to do some frogging. So I frogged out more than I put back, sadly. But I got some stitches in on it. I only worked on it one day, but it counts. This might be the one I'd try putting in one thread a day on. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Okay, so I think I got through all my whips. Sewing. I did some sewing. Let me show you what I made. So last time Michelle and I were at the Best Little Retreat Center in Texas, I picked up a charm pack of this cutie patootie little fabric called Willow's Farm. I'll pop in a picture too of it. This is a motive fabric, and I just thought it was so dang cute. So I made a project bag. I think I did a good job. So far, I haven't found anything that's coming out of the seams. Michelle is so patient with me, walking me through it, because there's one part that I do backwards like every time, and then I end up with a raw edge, and so I'm like, wait, what did I do wrong? And she helps me figure it out and fix it. So I did put on a little trim, little piece of lace across here, which I thought was a pretty little detail. That was some trim that I got from Chatterbox Retreat in our mystery box that I really enjoy, and I think it's so pretty. So I've used that on a couple different projects. Turned out absolutely adorable. Love it. Don't know what I'm going to put in it yet, but something springy I'm thinking, because it's springy colors. So the other thing that I worked on, remember last time I was at the Best Little Retreat Center in Texas, I put together blocks for this heartstrings quilt top. Heartstrings is a pattern by the Fat Quarter Shop, and I used XOXO fabrics by Clothworks. I think those were from the Cupid box in 2023. My sweet friend Brooke gave me these, and so I'm going to show a picture of this because I actually sent it off to the Long Armor. This is my quilt top that I finished. It turned out so cute. I love it so much. I was very nervous about making triangles. I was very nervous about stitching in public. I know that sounds so silly, but sewing something and then putting it up on the wall for other people to see. But people were so complimentary. They came over. I love this. Is so cute. And it felt so good to get it all put together. So I ended up adding some extra border pieces to this because I wanted, it was really, I think, more of like a wall hanging, but I wanted to use it as a lap quilt. So I added that, I changed the background color to that pretty kind of grapefruity melon color. And then I added the sort of turquoisey mint color around the border. I think it turned out so cute and I can't wait to get it back. I sent my quilt tops off with Michelle's mom, Louita. So I actually sent two with her. I sent off the plaid quilt top and the heartstrings. So I can't wait to get this back. Additionally, hold on one second. Additionally, I couldn't reach this because it was across the table. I made quilt blocks for my Hey Boo quilt from Moda, and I don't have the pattern that I'm kind of loosely using. I'll pop in a picture of it because I don't have it sitting on the table here and I don't know what it's called, but it is a freebie pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop that I kind of am using as a guide. So I'll just show you these blocks really quickly, and then I need to zip this together. So I'm very inspired to put my sewing machine back together so that I can finish this. These are so cute. I love all these bright, fun colors. The pink in this with that lime green, and I'm seeing I didn't do a great job ironing here. I have to re-iron these. I was putting together these like so fast. The last day that we were there, after I finished the heartstrings piece, I got these out and I was like zipping them together, and it was so fun. And I love all the cute little sayings. So this was a panel that I purchased and then I just cut it up. And some of the pieces I used on my stitching mat, and then the rest I end up putting in this quilt. Of course, I love the black and white, this fun purple and the pink. Oh, so cute. Little ghosts. This one says, "Hey Boo." Sorry, I'm going slow. I'm trying not to get these out of order, and also they were ironed, although looking at the backs of some of them, they need to be ironed again. Oh my gosh, speaking of iron, Michelle was letting me use her fancy iron this weekend, the one that pops up. Osillo, is that what it's called? I don't know, you guys, I'm a quilting dummy, but I'm sure you're all yelling at me how to pronounce it correctly. Anyway, it's a super fancy iron that pops up on its own. So today I was ironing a few of the projects before Flosstube, and I just like pushed my iron over the side, like waiting for it to pop up, and I was like, oh, it doesn't do that. Thankfully, I didn't burn anything. Get spoiled with that real quick. Spooky season. I like that one. These are also stinking cute. So I am ahead of the game for Halloween. We're behind. We don't have to admit that, do we? Okay. Let me look back at my list. Oh, I wanted to tell you a little segment of what I've been listening to because I love to stitch and listen to audiobooks. One of the things I was listening to is, oh gosh, am I going to remember the name of the book? Don't you hate it when everything is on your phone and my phone's on the tripod? Empire of the Summer Moon. And this is a nonfiction historical account of Indian Wars, I'm going to say. I'm not fully through this. This is a very, very long listen. It would be a very, very long read. It's a very thick book. But what I've enjoyed about it is that some of it's a bit gory. Some of it's a bit redundant. They do talk about, you know, just how violent it was, and that goes both ways. But it's really an account of the Parker family and some of the last Indian tribes who were predominantly in this Texas area. And so it's very interesting because they'll talk about areas in small towns that I know. And so that's interesting. Like when we were going up toward Amarillo, so we're driving up through Amarillo and we're very near Palo Duro Canyon, and they're talking about that, and they're talking about some of the cities along the way. And so that's just really interesting. Parker County is where I'm from, and so that was also an area of interest in the book and point of horror. But again, it's just something that I found interesting to listen to. I couldn't listen to it all the way through. I needed a little break from it. I actually ran out of time on my library loan too, so my book got returned. I've since rechecked it out, so I'll finish listening to it here in the next couple of weeks. But the other thing I listened to was The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, and I use the Libby app, so I check out the audiobooks from my library, so that's really nice. This book, it kept my interest. I shouldn't laugh. Part of the book is very, very disturbing. It's sad. So just a warning, like if you're triggered by things, there's a lot of violence in this book. There's domestic abuse in the book. Without giving it all away, it's set in Alaska. It's a story of survival. The character just goes through so much. Like there was a point where I was like, seriously, can anything else bad happen in this book? And the answer was yes. But I did enjoy listening to it, and I think I would like to listen to some more Kristen Hanna books. I have The Nightingale on my list. Although I read or listened to so many World War II books at the end of last year that I was kind of like, I need a change of subject. So anyway, it was just interesting. My husband and I were also watching the True Detective series, The Night Country. So it's also set in Alaska. And it was just, they were both kind of paralleling, you know, talking about Alaska and how the winters are so just flat scary. And here I am in all this snow and cold. And, you know, it's one thing, we are not in a survival situation. Like we're vacationing and we're having fun. But it just really, I could really put myself there, you know, like thinking about the setting and how cold it must be and how scary at times, especially when the electricity goes out, or you get these really big storms, these blizzard storms where you can't see anything. So anyways, I spent some time in Alaska in January, and that is on our bucket list to go there. So one day soon we'll go to Alaska. Not one day soon, maybe next year or in our future we plan to go to Alaska. Okay, so what else? I watched a ton of Flosstube. I mean, a ton of Flosstube. I watched so many whip braids. Really enjoyed watching all of the whip braids. I wrote down all the Flosstube that I've been watching. I thought that was kind of fun. I'm probably not going to do that every month, but I watched P&W Crafter. I watched the Garden Goose Stitcher. I watched the Carolina Stitchers. I watched Burn Stitches. I watched the Seattle Stitcher, Cross Stitch the Globe, Two Needles Pulling Thread. Some of these Flosstubes are weekly, so I watched some of the same stitchers over and over again. I watched my friend Lisa L. Snaps, the Museum Stitcher, Sarah's Stitchery. I watched Just Keep Stitching. Stitching is Elementary. What else? Marjorie Maid. I watched Brenda and the Cereal Starter. Oh, back up. I believe it was Marjorie Maid. I'm pretty sure I watched so many whip parades. Now I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure she was the one who is stitching Pandemic with her like leftover floss, and it was turning out so cool. I'll pop in a picture of that if not, I'll pop in a correction of who was stitching it because that was really fun. I watched Brenda and the Cereal Starter. I watched Abby with Pansy Stitches. She's so fun and cute. She's up in Canada. I watched Hobbies of Holly. Holly, I hope your move is going well. Thinking of you. I watched Making It with Michelle, of course. I watched Stitching on the Rock, and thank you for the shout out. I watched Two Needles Pulling Thread. I said that one already. Watched those multiple times. I also watched Heidi with Whips and Kits. I'm still watching your whip parade because it's 2 parts. And I also watched Moonshine Stitchery. Those were really fun. So many great stitchers out there. I know it's impossible to watch them all, but I've been trying to watch some new people, and if someone tags me, I'm curious, so I go and watch their Flosstube as well. So that's really fun. I'm so thankful for this community, such a great group of ladies, and I'm always inspired every time I watch a Flosstube. So I hope that I inspire you as well. I did get some very nice comments. Speaking of, I was going to do this at the end, but let's just go ahead and do the giveaway because I'm thinking about it and I don't want to forget. So I pulled names with a random comment picker. So the winner of the Prairie Schooler 2024 Santa is Heather Kelly. Congratulations. If you won, please email me at blackcoffeeandgrits@gmail.com, and I'll pop it below and down in the notes as well, the show notes of how to contact me. But please send me your mailing address so that I can get these out in the mail to you. So Heather Kelly, thank you and congratulations. Thanks for being a watcher. The winner of Christmas Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches is 823 Nori. Congratulations. And the winner of Matter's Choice by Carriage House Samplings is Connie Erickson 5150. And last but not least, the winner of the Shakespeare's Peddler pattern Once Around the Floss Box is also Connie. This is a different Connie though. Connie 7497. So again, just email me and I'll happily get these out in the mail to you ladies. I can't pick this one up off the table. It is stuck. I'm trying to keep all this organized and together. Okay. So that was fun. So do you guys want to see some haul? I actually don't really have a whole lot of haul, but I have a little bit. The question is, did I bring it over here? I don't think I did. Hold please. Okay, sorry about that. It was actually here. It was just buried. For haul, I didn't go too crazy this month. I was actually pretty good. Pretty good. Until Michelle and I got to the quilt shop. One thing I saw that popped up that I had to have because I have been stocking these for an eternity, it feels like. The Black Needle Society In Stars Hollow series. So this is from the Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life inspired. So there is spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And I was thinking about stitching these in the order, which is not the way I want to look. I haven't really looked at this closely, but I was thinking about stitching them in the order that they have them in A Year in the Life. I just watched that. I love that so much. Every time my husband goes out of town, I end up watching it. I was thinking about stitching them in that order, but I'll have to look and see if it still makes sense, because they show this all stitched as one. And then I thought about stitching them all individually. What do you guys think? I don't know. Anyway, to be determined. Had to have those though. Adorable. Like I said, I was pretty good. I did kit up a couple of projects, and I really only purchased floss, and I just put it all in the project bags already, with the exception of I ordered some more black coffee and grits, because can a girl who loves black coffee and grits really have too much black coffee and grits? No, I don't think she can. Also, I needed some skeins for that pig sampler that I'm doing that's all black coffee. So I also ordered bamboo, but again, it went into the project. I was pretty good. At the quilt shop, however, was maybe not as good. I bought a lot of fabric to finish out quilt projects. Now, that was necessary. I needed a backing fabric and border fabric and background fabric for the heartstrings quilt, which is going to turn out so cute. I can't wait to get that back. And then also Michelle, affectionately, I call this Big Daddy. This is a creative, ooh, now I lost my train of thought for the brand of this. Creative Grids quilting ruler, and this is the really big one. It is a 12.5 by 24.5. So I saw this hanging on the rack and I was like, I gotta have that. It's been in my cart since the last time we went quilting together, and I was like, that's a really handy tool, and I kept borrowing hers, and then when I saw it on the rack, I was like, oh, yoink, that's mine. So glad to pick that up. Also influenced by Michelle to buy this Rosemary Cottage mini charm pack. I'll pop in a picture. Let me throw it on the floor. I'll pop in a picture of what it looks like as well, because it's hard to flip through a mini charm pack, but this is such a cute fabric line. And Michelle made a bag out of it, and I was like, oh dang, that's cute. So also I think I was like $4 away from a free day or something, so you know, I was like, okay, I'm gonna add that. They give you a free day if you spend $100. Free day at the retreat center. I picked up some fat quarters and a little bit of cut yardage to work on that Willow Farm bag. And then I just picked up some fat quarters that I loved. Really love this. And now I wish I knew the name of this gal. But this is a local designer. And I really love these black and white mauves on this bright orange fabric. And then this is also her design. It's cactuses. Of course, they're black and white. And you know, I love a good black and white. So all in all, I was pretty good, wouldn't you say? I didn't go too wild. I did pick up buttons. I wonder where those ended up. So remember, I didn't get home with my buttons from Creative Stitches. I bet those are in my, I have too many bags and I haven't unpacked it all yet, so please forgive me. I didn't get that out, but there's some little Jabco buttons. I can pop in a picture of what they look like. One of them is going to go on my Be Jolly Santa hat. I think the other one is for my Mill Hill We Gather Together piece. That sounds right. Picked up a bunch of DMC to kit some stuff up. I'm thinking about February, so let's talk about plans. I definitely want to stitch something Valentine's, and I actually pulled some FREEBIE charts. Hands-on Design, she so generously does FREEBIE charts for Valentine's all the time. I'm going to cover up the chart. You can go to her website, and I think you need to sign up for her. You might not even have to. They may be on her blog, but sometimes people ask you to sign up for their newsletter, and that's helpful anyways. But this is Love You, so I may stitch this one. or the other one that I printed off, and I'll probably stitch both of these at some point, but I'm just not sure which one I'll do this year, or Be Mine. So one of those cutie patooties, I may pop in pictures of those too, because if they don't show up well with me holding them. So definitely plans to stitch one of those, and then I'm going to do a kit parade of spring projects. So I'm working on putting together a list of those things. But for February, I'm gonna stick with trying to finish up some of these winter projects. And it's gonna be hard because we're gonna have springy type weather, like I said, coming up in a couple days. But I'm gonna try to stick with winter projects, and I'm gonna continue stitching on those BAPs at least 2 days a month. And I realize February is a short month, so I'm gonna have to squeeze some of those in. So my son is singing. Let's see. Oh, tomorrow is Saturday, and Michelle and I have planned to go up to Peanut Gallery, and I'm gonna get some things framed. I need to pull that out tonight, this afternoon, and figure out what I'm gonna take to get framed. So I'm gonna continue stitching on snow pieces, my winter. I'm almost done with winter cometh, so that is like a must finish. I am going to this afternoon get out my Hello Halloween and work on that just a bit more, but at least get in a couple motifs, something to feel accomplished with. I think that's all. So I'll probably be coming to you with my spring parade maybe next week. That's what I'm thinking. So those will be truly like springy projects. Although if I am working on something Valentine's, I might show that as well. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Thanks for the comments and all the kind words. I hope you all have a really wonderful February. Happy stitching. See you soon.